Hey everyone, this is the most special video I think I've ever made, and it's not even a video you can see. It's the middle of the night here in Sedona. We are at a campground. It's called Manzanita Campground, and it's a place I'd heard about. It fills up very, very quickly, and lucky enough to get a couple of nights here. Be honest, I wasn't actually sure this camping trip was going to happen. It was like on the agenda, but it involved getting a friend from Phoenix, which is a couple hours south of Sedona, and, driving down there and exchanging cars and, coming back and, all of the stuff that happens with life. But we ended up making the trip. I drove back to Phoenix today, made the drive, got her. She's a very, very dear friend from college, early college days. We've known each other forever and lives in Phoenix now. And we put our stuff in her car and her dog in her car. And, the whole plan was like to get here early in the day. It just didn't happen. And we ended up driving. We got to drive and talk like the way that only, the talks that only happen when you're closed up in a car with someone. But, I just moved all this energy from Sedona to the city of Phoenix, and then we moved it back again, kind of a very gentle alchemy to that process. And on the way down from Sedona to Phoenix, I just kind of had the windows open. There's not really any radio. The car I was driving did not have a Bluetooth. There's really no signal anyway. And I just spoke into the wind. I spoke a lot of things that I'd wanted to say that had been, I'd carried around. And I'm finding that the arid desert wind, just the clearness of the air, of the energy, the clearness of the heat, the clearness of the cold, it's just a really nice conduit for alchemizing your words and your emotions and just carrying them out and not like dumping them onto the earth, but just letting them change and letting them change within you and your intent behind, that process. So it was a really beautiful drive. And I'm not normally somebody who drives long distances very well. Then when we drove back, it was just so wonderful. Along the way, we made a little medicine pouch, intentions, dreams, hopes for the future. It was a very organic process, using a little pouch that, her daughter had given her for Mother's Day, which just happened over here. And we actually hit Sedona just at sunset. And I had been saying, and at the retreat we were, pretty busy and there wasn't time, to go out and watch the sunset. We did some night hiking, but as we drove, the sky just deepened into this pink. And we hit the red rocks of Sedona, and it was just breathtaking. It was incredible. Just at points, there were no words for how beautiful it was. And there's all of the stuff that goes along with that, like arriving at your campsite at dark. But we had the energy of just people who traveled together for so long. We actually traveled through Europe together, Switzerland and Germany and France. So I wasn't too worried. And it was nice to rekindle that energy. We both had a lot of life happen to us. And there's something about just, calling in like the higher aspects of who you were in a different time, because we grow and change, but there are some wonderful aspects that we can still hold on to. So I'm going to describe to you where we are, and then the big reveal will be tomorrow in the daylight. So, my friend and I have not seen this campsite in the daylight. I booked this online, got 2 nights here, and we know we're at campsite 10, but it was dark, like I said, when we got here. We just had the headlights of our car and like some headlamps, and I had this tent, and not to sound overly sentimental, but I've had this tent for 5 or 6 years. I got it when I was married with my ex-husband, and it was this really, really nice tent. And this isn't to, talk anyone down, like it didn't work out between us, but when I received this tent, there were so many promises of adventures and building and just, being on the same page. And those went unfulfilled, as we went on separate life paths. And so this tent has been unused, this really, really nice tent. And I flew it all the way from Kentucky, to Phoenix, and brought it up to Sedona. So just the act of setting this tent up and having my friend help me, and it's dark and we're just having to do the best we can. That was just empowering in and of itself. So I'm here in this wonderful tent. It's got a view on each long side. It's like straight through view, I guess. And the campsite that we ended up at, number 10, is kind of tucked up against the woods. There's a neighboring campsite, but there's a surprising amount of room. And Manzanita is this little bitty space, like tucked off the road. I want to say 89A. I could be wrong about that, but the magical thing is that we're here. I'm pointing you straight forward, like my forward view, and you may even be able to hear it. The rushing creek is literally right beside us. It's Oak Creek. It's the one that I jumped in a few days ago at the retreat. It's cold, wonderful, healthy water. And just taking a moment to appreciate where we are. When you look up, there's the mountains of Sedona right over us. The stars are super bright. The sky is just expansive. There's these tall, tall trees. It's just a perfect spot. And when I realized I was going to be falling asleep to the sound of this creek, it's just the healthiest feeling in the world. I don't have any cell phone reception out here, which made me panic for a moment. Your girl's kind of addicted to being in contact, but that was a really good feeling to be like, no. I went without it for a long time, and as a child and all that stuff, and much of my adulthood, we didn't have a cell phone. So, what an opportunity. But I was laying here and kind of woke up just really excited, in the middle of the night, and I thought, what a great time to make a video. One of the things from the retreat is many people commented that they can tell that I'm doing work all the time, like alchemy work all the time. And they're just so curious, they just love watching me. They don't even know what I'm doing. And that was interesting feedback to hear, because it always surprises me. I guess I forget that other people are not necessarily doing that. I think some people do it more than they let on, or maybe even more than they acknowledge. But it's true. I am always integrating energies. I'm used to it. I do it in the city constantly. And I was asked to describe this process, and I found it difficult, so I realized I need more practice at that. So I'm going to do that for a moment. If you take this creek Oak Creek, which runs into the Verde. It's such a clean, like wonderful source of energy. And when I say source of energy, I mean, like a river, a creek, a body of water is a living being. It's got a spirit, it's got a soul, and it's got a presence to it. And as I lay here, I think at home, if I woke up, I'd kind of like roll over and maybe scroll through, Facebook or something like that, see what's up, kind of smile at some things and go to sleep. But I can't do that here, so I just listen to the river. I keep calling it a river, the creek. I listened to the creek, and I just took that clean, strong source of energy and overlaid it onto where I live in Kentucky, in Louisville, which is a city of like 1 million plus people. And, one way to get to my apartment, which is like, built in the 1920s and it's like pretty established, is to walk up an alley. I found myself overlaying this energy, like clean, strong energy of the river, of the creek, over this alleyway. And it's not like the most beautiful, pleasant walk, like you walk by dumpsters and stuff like that. And it's an alley in a city. But you'll hear more on this from me. Alleyways, unbeautiful corners, those are where a city shaman does their work. And it's the work of alchemy. And it's a work I'm particularly strong in. And it's just about breathing new life into these spaces and places, and about bringing out like the strong goodness of what is already there, making the hidden seen and keeping the secret, the good secrets, like the beautiful ones. I've walked up that alley in the dark before on really cool nights where the light is just, wow, really illuminating, like something awesome, something you just wouldn't see unless you happen to walk up that alley at that time of night. And a lot of ways, that's how I feel here in Manzanita, is who gets experience, not that many people. And that's something I want to bring more of into the world. And so it's why I wanted to concentrate on it, focus on it, and make a video about it, and just talk to you about it, put it out there in the world. So grounding this creek over the alley, just letting it mentally, visually, like rush through the alley in my mind, rush through my apartment, and clean out stagnant energy that builds up as a result of, not being perfect in my work, having priorities which shift here and there, and really also just letting this energy talk to the river I live near, which is the Ohio River, which is a very sick river right now, but very beautiful and very wonderful, and could use a friend like Oak Creek, to talk to and to have support from, and to start to remember, who it is as well, because really the thing that it is forgotten, a bit of who it is. And we've all been there, I think, where we just didn't know ourselves, or we kind of forgot who we were and let the Matrix guide us a bit too much, and started to act off of, in off ways from who we are at the true soul, like strong spirit level. So I can relate to the Ohio. At the same time, it's part of my job to help it. And the interesting thing is that I've accessed the fairy realm, surrounding the Ohio River, and on the fairy realm, oh my gosh, like I talk about a sick river and they're just like, what are you talking about? Wotsuck River. Like, on their realm that they exist in, that river is not sick at all. It is healthy, it's vital, it's beautiful, they love it. So I think, to further the kind of work that I always do, when I had that realization, I understood that within every sick being, whether it's like a sick friend or sick you or a sick river, a sick earth, there is the essence of health, and we can do a great service within sickness to recognize that essence of health and really meditate on it, help bring it out, help support it into being, help support it existing rather than giving in. So these are examples of work that I do and work that I'm doing here and work that I wanted to bring to you, because in sharing this video, you're sharing in this energy and the water that flows over these rocks, just this quartz that is embedded in the land. It makes me smile because I love the idea. And, the iron oxides and all the red that makes the Sedona red rocks. Meditated a lot on that for the root chakra, just a strong, strong red. And I'm honored to share this with you. And I'm honored to be here. And I can't even imagine the morning, waking up and looking forward to this tent in this very same view and just seeing full sunlight on the place. And thank you for sharing this little late night video. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're able to cultivate some of your essence that is your truest, greatest, deepest health. And I'll see you tomorrow and show you what all of this looks like so that you can have a visual to go along with, the painting that has sprung up in your mind around this. Life is really about creating these little bits of beauty wherever we go, and you don't have to be in a beautiful place to do it, but it sure is wonderful to recharge in one and remember what true connection, what it feels like, and strength. Just so grateful for this life. It's truly possible for everyone. Little steps. Good night, friends.